It's She-Hulk time.
Yes.
It's just me and Steph today. Epic Mike couldn't handle it anymore. He's like, can't watch the show. I can't watch it no more. I'm done. Now he'll be back. Next week is the last episode, and we're just going to go live and talk about this. I don't know. This series. It's the only series I stuck with from start to finish.
That's
unbelievable.
true. That's the same with me. Yeah.
Unbelievable. What a show. What a show. There were some parts of the show that I kind of liked. And then just when they give me something I like, they just went ahead and throw it in the trash. Just like always. So let's just go. We'll get right into it. Let me move this out the way. I love how, oh my gosh.
You went
edit
all
Jay.
the
Edit Jay. Edit that out. There we go. I love how the show begins where it says previously on, and Jen says previously on my show.
Yeah. And then I couldn't believe it. I was like, wait, what are we doing here? Why aren't we like showing what happened last episode? We're like showing all of her like escapades. You know what I mean?
I think that builds up to the biggest escapade of them all.
I was like, what? Okay.
Jen just wanted to remind us all that this is still a She-Hulk show. We then get right into the action. We're LeapFrog. We see LeapFrog. He's going to stop two thieves from stealing a large television set. In trying to escape, not being able to handle the thieves, he sets his suit on fire. And as he sets his suit on fire, he then meets with She-Hulk attorney at law.
Yeah.
And was like, I'm gonna sue this guy. She's like, okay, I think you got a claim here. Who are you suing? And they're like, oh, it's Luke, basically the guy that's doing all your clothes, She-Hulk. And now she's like, oh,
yeah,
I don't know.
That's a big conflict for her.
I don't know if this is
Her
a good
tailor.
idea.
Oh no, not my tailor. It's a huge conflict for her because remember we had a whole episode about her going shopping for clothes. So of course this would be a huge conflict, and she brings it up multiple times. Like, he makes my outfits.
Another
He
part
makes
of
my
her
outfits. Is it okay?
personal
I know
struggle.
you make my outfits. Can you make my gala dress? It's okay. Please don't. Hey, I paid for that. What? You know what? You ripped the outline of my gala dress. Now it's on. I'm just kind of watching.
Yeah,
this,
we'll
like,
get
what
to
the
that.
heck? And then with LeapFrog here, we're supposed to assume that like when this tailor is so exclusive to superheroes that he wouldn't even consider a Hulk, right? She's a Hulk. And,
Yeah.
and until they mentioned like the Avengers, oh, but she's an Avenger, or she will be. Yet we're supposed to believe that he made LeapFrog's suit.
Yeah.
Like, what is this? I thought he was like this exclusive to superheroes, and the only reason why he was like super interested in taking on Jen as a client of his is because she was an Avenger. Remember, her friends lied and said she was an Avenger. But LeapFrog, like, why would he even take this person on? I don't understand.
But this is her personal struggle. She then goes to the boss and says, I like my nice clothes and I don't want to upset him. So can somebody else please take this case? And the boss says, hey, look, that kid's dad gives us a lot of money, so you're going to represent him. But if she was a smart attorney, and you will find out later on in the episode, they could have avoided all this. All of this if she had done her investigation onto why his suit caught on fire.
Yeah.
That's literally all she had to do and be like, you have no case here. Shut up. But no. So she goes to confront him, and he gets a little upset. Luke is like, I've never made a defective suit in my life. My work is impeccable. And that's the gown that he's working on for She-Hulk's big Lawyer of the Year presentation that comes at the end of the episode. And he rips it up, and She-Hulk gets mad. And she's like, I'll see you in court. Mm, mm,
She didn't
mm.
ask him any questions. He says my work is impeccable. It's like, okay, have you ever had any, there's no inquiry into
She was
why
like
this
apologizing,
suit,
like,
yeah,
"Don't
there's
be
no
mad at
inquiry as
me."
to like why this suit could have possibly caught on fire. Like, is there any way this could have caught on fire? And then maybe he says, well, he's wearing, booster shoes or whatever. Like, what kind of fuel did he use? It could have been so simple.
That's what I'm
Just a
saying.
little bit investigation, a tiny bit of
But she was
investigation.
worried that when the lawsuit takes place, that he wasn't going to finish her dress. But
Right.
once he
She was more
snapped at
worried.
her,
Yeah, she's more
she's like,
worried about herself. She's more worried about herself than like actually really representing her client.
and then it happens, everyone. The moment that men and women have been waiting for the entire series. He's here. He made it. He is the attorney for Luke, the guy who makes all the costumes for the superheroes. He makes a grand entrance because he's late, makes a blind joke, which I kind of thought was funny.
Yeah.
And I appreciate this scene so much, honestly. And I'll go through it real quick and then you could discuss, because it actually shows Matt Murdock like being as super smart as he is. He just sits down, opens up his book. She calls him an a-hole because he's shutting her up at every moment. Every moment, like right here is like, who is this a-hole? um he's like, hey, I remind you that the Sokovia, I think I said that right, that's like way back at Civil War times. The
Mm-hmm.
Civil War, the Marvel Civil War has been repealed. He has all his stuff in line. He makes the case. The judge was like, yeah, you're denied, Jen Walters. You're denied. You didn't know what you're doing. Then on top of it, LeapFrog was like, hey, I need to get a new suit. And of course, Matt Murdock's like, what kind of fuel did you use in your boosters? And he said, I used jet fuel. And they said, well, that's the case is closed because you used the wrong kind of fuel.
Mm-hmm.
Simple as that. And then it's
Yeah.
like, I'm dismissing the case. Matt Murdock comes in, boom, boom, boom. He's done. And then she begs Luke, can you
Look at the
please
guy in
finish
the
my dress?
background.
Yeah, LeapFrog. She begs Luke, like, can you finish my dress? He's like, no, because I hate you now. And that's been Jen's struggle the entire show. Everybody hates Jen. That's the name of it. That's what they should call this
Yeah.
episode. I will say this, because I think they knew that Daredevil was going to be in this and everyone was going to watch just to see Daredevil. I do think on a lot of the close-ups, they fixed the CGI. They were like, forget the other episodes. This episode, put your money on the CGI because this is the one that most people are going to watch.
It was still
Sad.
kind of bad though.
Oh, listen, we're rating this. We're rating the show on the show itself. So when I say this is like maybe the best episode the show has given to us, it's not a high bar. So everyone,
Yeah.
don't crucify me in the comment section, which you probably will anyway. But I did notice that. I was like looking. I was like, look, they had a fight scene with Daredevil and a lot of close-ups. It looks like that's where they put their money in, because as we pointed out in other episodes, it was really bad.
Mm-hmm.
So they were like, it's just sad to me that they were like, a lot of people are going to watch this one, so make this one look better than the others. If you cared about your product,
You would make the effort in every single episode. Now, this scene, I thought it was interesting. Like, Matt Murdock comes in and he's an incredibly competent lawyer. His dialogue was written really well. As far as like this court scene, I thought it was written really well. He's very on top of his game. But what was interesting was that She-Hulk looks at the camera and says, who's this asshole? Immediately antagonizing him. Why? Because he's competent? That makes
Yeah.
absolutely no sense. Why would she be calling him an asshole? She needs to not call him an asshole and step up her game. And it's ridiculous to where she, he smells the jet fuel and she looks over at her client like, why didn't you tell me about the jet fuel? No, it's not your client's fault that you didn't know about the jet fuel. It's your fault for putting your priorities, your gown, your conflict of interest, and trying to get out of it because, but you like wearing your clothes, you like the clothes that he makes, over your client. You were forced to do this by your boss. Then do it properly. Do a full investigation and make sure you have nothing that could surprise you in court potentially. And
because
she
you're
didn't do
embarrassed
that.
again, Jen.
And she
But
didn't do that.
Steph, this is a comedy. This is a joke. Ha ha ha! Called him an a-hole.
But she's
Hey.
supposed to be a serious lawyer and take
I
her job
know.
seriously, and that's what we've been told. And it doesn't look like she's very competent because Matt Murdock immediately comes in and schools her. And it was written really well, but it's interesting that she looked at the camera and said, "Who's this asshole?" And kind of like telling the audience, "This is an asshole. You're not supposed to like this character." You know what I mean?
Yeah, she got schooled, and she lost her dress, and she's back at the bar drinking. And Matt Murdock shows up and buys her a martini and is like, "Can I join you?" And she's like, "Yeah." And Matt Murdock is giving her life advice that maybe
Yeah,
she should listen to.
didn't we predict this like before? Because we were like, she's not going to be a lawyer, and then Daredevil's going to come, or she's not going to want to be a superhero, and Daredevil's going to come in and
Predicted.
yeah, and tell her, give her some speech or whatever, and then she's going to be like, "Oh, maybe you're right. Maybe I can have both things. Maybe I can be a superhero." Like,
So, yeah,
yeah,
exactly. Matt Murdock tells her all this stuff, and she's like, "Okay." Then she looks into the camera and she goes, "We're all feeling this, right? Is it not just me?"
it's interesting that like she'll listen to this guy's advice,
A guy who
telling him
just
about
scolded her in court, a guy
yeah,
who she just called an a-hole, and now she's like, "Y'all are feeling like there's some
yeah, but
love here."
she spent like this whole time with Bruce at the beginning of the season with him trying to help her,
Exactly. Who
and
is a Hulk?
who is a Hulk, with him trying to help her at the beginning of the season. We spent the time with her and Bruce, him trying to tell her about, her superhero powers and, how she could do some good. And she just completely just wrote it off. I don't want this. I don't want it. But this dude that she like wants to sleep with, we're all feeling this, right? It's not just me. She'll totally listen to him and take the advice that he gives her about her. Like with this, like what, 5 minutes that she spends with him at the bar.
Yeah, he just says, "You can do some good, Jen." And
Oh my
she's like,
god, you
"Oh,
bought
you
me a
guys are
drink?
feeling this? You feeling it?"
Yeah. Oh my god, you bought me a drink? I'm gonna listen and take whatever you have to say to my soul.
Her self-esteem is really in the toilet. Uh, it's really it's really low.
I'm not gonna listen to my family member who has all of this experience and went through all of this trauma, went through all of and eventually overcame it, became a Hulk, used his power for good, is an Avenger. I'm not gonna listen to him. No. He's gonna talk to me about superheroing. No, I don't want to hear it. I want to listen to him.
So here
But
comes
then
one of the
he
most
comes in, and
yeah.
yes, I'm gonna listen to everything you say. It makes absolutely no sense.
And then comes one of the most pointless scenes in the film. They're both at the bar. They both get a call from clients, and they're like, "Yeah, okay, well, we got to go." So she gets a call from this guy named, I can't even remember. I think it's Todd.
I don't know.
And he's like, "I got a problem here. Can you help?" And so she goes over to meet Todd and at a place, and Todd's trying to get her drunk, trying to get her wine. And basically, he's like, "Hey, I bought a Wakandan spear." And she's like, "Okay, all right." And then he basically just like scoots over to her and says, "And I can feel it." And I can tell you that we're both feeling it. Jen or She-Hulk is like, "What?" Shoves it and is like, "Get away from me." And goes home and wants to go to sleep. But while she's home, she gets a disturbing call from her client, LeapFrog.
Yeah. See, I thought that this was the call that like they both got at the same time or something like that,
Hmm.
But like her call was so weird. It was kind of like that scene was sort of meant to be the opposite of what just happened, right? Because she's like, "We're both feeling this, right?" Looking at the camera, and then he tells her, "We can feel it." And like she has no interest in this guy, whereas the other scene she has an interest in sleeping with Daredevil. But it's kind of like I don't understand what the point of this scene was,
It's just to make men look creepy.
other than to be like the opposite of the scene that we just finished watching.
Well, he was like, "I bought this Wakanda spear for 1,000,000.
Yeah,
Hello,
like
I
he's
paid a
kind of
million."
yeah, he's
And
like flexing, showing that like he has millions.
it's like,
He
this
showed
is
her a
so
photo of him
dumb.
with like his shirt off holding the spear,
Yeah, it's like it's
and
so
then
dumb.
says that says that like he studied abroad in Wakanda, which makes absolutely no sense because like Wakanda is hidden. The last time I checked, like there's no foreign exchange program. Um, they want their spear back because it was stolen
It was
by
stolen.
colonizers. I really have no idea what the point of this scene was.
It had no point. It just was we need to add another 5 minutes to the show to make the time that Disney wants. So let's just throw this in. Creepy guy. And, so she gets a call from LeapFrog and she doesn't really know what's going on. And she puts on her superhero costume for the first time, everyone.
Ta-da.
And there it is. And LeapFrog is driving, which we don't really know, but most of us already predicted and know that that's Daredevil on top of the car.
Mhm.
And She-Hulk is standing there at the top of the parking garage. The car hits her, and Daredevil flies off. And, they have the ultimate superhero stare down. And Jen looks at LeapFrog and is like, can you just get out of here? It's going down. So they have this fight where she says, I'm going to whoop your booty. And
She's
he's
not going to
like,
whoop his ass. She's going to kill him with that car.
yeah, we'll get to. They have this fight, and Daredevil's like, no one beat me up, and he jumps down because he's still chasing LeapFrog. He's got his thing to do.
Yeah.
Jen, who has
It-
no fight training whatsoever, except she does know how to do the Hulk clap, basically, and throw a rock. So the two training methods that Hulk taught her at the beginning of the series, she uses here. She picks up a random car. It could have been my car. It could have been anyone's car.
Yeah.
And throws it at Daredevil. And of course, he moves out of the way. But then she does do something which I will say, I will give them credit. This is the one way to stop Daredevil. I'm sorry. I know people are going to be mad at me in the
Oh, no, I
comments,
thought
whatever.
that too. I thought
But
that
this
too.
is how you stop him with the hearing and the slap and everything. So I was like, they gave me something right. She does the Hulk clap and it knocks Daredevil down. And she goes over and just rips his mask off. And she's like, is that Matt Murdock? What?
Yeah. It's
So
interesting because at the beginning of this fight, he tells her, like, Jen, stop. You don't understand. But she doesn't. She doesn't take time to compose herself and, like, listen to this character. And the reason is because he's dressed like a devil. So she thought he was evil.
yeah.
She's
So
about to
sorry.
kill this person with a car because she literally picks up a car and is gonna throw it at him. What does she expect to happen? Like, I understand that, like, this is Marvel. Oh, he'll like get a scratch or whatever. But seriously, in real life, you throw a car at somebody, they're going to die. You're going to kill this person.
I
So
just
she
thought
throws
like,
a car at him.
yeah, I just thought like, okay, there's gonna be like you don't
And then not only
necessarily
that,
do
but
that.
like she's causing so much
She
damage.
destroyed the
There's
parking
no
garage.
regard. There's no regard for like property, right? Isn't she a lawyer? Like she's causing all of this damage.
Exactly. And then
And then she's
Matt,
just like, "Oh, I'll just I have
I'll leave a
I should
note,
probably
right?
leave a note. I should probably leave a note. Are you kidding me right now? You're causing thousands, hundreds of thousands of dollars in damage, throwing cars, ruining cars because she like ruined her client's car and then like two other cars because she threw one at him and then she smashed him into another one. She's causing hundreds of thousands of dollars in property damage and she almost kills him 3 times. Because the ground opens and he could have like
yeah.
gone if he wasn't, a superhero or whatever, a really good one, he would have gone in there and died. She throws a car at him, would have died. The Hulk clap like throws him into the car.
And now
Seriously.
she discovers that it's Matt, and Matt begins to mansplain again, what's going on.
Mm-hmm.
And so now here's the big twist
stupid
of the story. LeapFrog has kidnapped Luke and is demanding him and holding him hostage until he makes him a brand new superhero suit. And then he looks, and Luke is being Luke. He's making his little side comments and just saying, "Look, I know you're just being mean because I just kidnapped you." But so you see him with his little sewing machine, and he's making a suit. So
I would think that like with what he does, right? With what his name is Luke.
I think so. If I got that wrong, let me know in the comment section below. But I'm pretty sure.
I don't know any of the characters' names, honestly. I really don't. Okay, so I would think that like with the work that he does with the precision and like the specific things that every single super suit would need, it would require more than just a sewing machine.
Yeah,
like
well,
like I would think that it would be like a high caliber sewing. Like this is just like a regular sewing machine.
I think it would be made out of like stuff from Wakanda. But
I would think that it would be some, you know, high caliber stuff, but this is just a sewing machine. When I saw that, I was like, he's just using a sewing machine on like regular fucking thread. Are you kidding me right now?
we're not kidding. It's pretty sad. Then we get, like I said, there was parts of the show that I was like, okay, they got this right. They're doing this. And then they totally this was my cringe moment right here. And there's a lot of
Mhm.
cringe moments, but this one was the one.
Yeah. Oh, hold
Matt,
on really quickly before
yeah.
we move on to this. Going back to the fight scene, the voice dub
Oh,
in the
that was
fight
terrible. Yeah,
scenes
yeah. Right here was
was
bad. Yeah, yeah.
garbage. The dubbing, like dope super suit, you know, and then She-Hulk's voice dubs were like it's so bad.
Yeah, you don't talk like it's like she's swinging and beating up the ground and then talking normal. That was pretty bad.
Yeah.
We get to this scene right here where Daredevil is explaining, look, your client kidnapped someone. There's a bunch of, hired guns down there. This is what I do. Let me go in there and do it. You don't know how to do this. This is my thing. This is not your thing. Basically saying you don't have training in this. You
Mhm.
don't really know how to be a superhero. This is what I do. It's like I have my thing, you have yours. And then she
Yeah.
goes into this dance routine where she's like
But to me, it came off as like, I get it. You like him, you're interested in him, you want to show off for him. But he is absolutely correct. She's like, let me do my thing. He's like, you don't have a thing. You don't ever do
yeah.
this. She's kind of coming off a little
And
dumb
she's
because
like, I got my thing.
yeah,
I
he's
do
like,
my and you're like, what are you doing?
yeah, you're like, you don't have a thing. You don't ever do this. She's kind of coming off dumb. And to me, I would be like, what are you talking about? Are you stupid? Like, you don't ever do this. You've made it quite clear that you don't want to have anything to
You
do
don't
with
want to be a
superhero
superhero.
work. So,
Yeah.
what is your thing? It's kind of coming off ridiculous, you know? But I guess to him, it's supposed to be like really cute and endearing. But to me, it's coming off ridiculous. And he even like kind of mocks her a little bit when
Yeah.
he's like telling her about like the property damage that she just caused because she's so inexperienced.
Yeah. Yeah.
So it's
And
just kind of ridiculous.
and I don't know why she went back to Jen for like this dance scene. This isn't like Guardians of the Galaxy where he's like, dance off, bro. Like this was like really bad. I was like, what are they thinking with this? Because then they go from this and they give me, yes, I'm a man, I'm sorry. They give me the hallway Daredevil scene. Yes, I liked it. I don't care. Enjoyed it because it just brought back Netflix, all that stuff. They did make a lot of references to the Netflix series, which was kind of cool. But they gave us the hallway scene. He just beats up the bad guys in a dark alleyway. It's total Daredevil. And then they gave us this moment where Daredevil's standing there and all these other bad guys are running after him. Like, oh, here it comes. But then Jen falls through the ceiling and lands on him. And she looks at him and says, She-Hulk smash. Maybe that's foretelling of what's about to happen. In the next few minutes of the episode. So he's like, okay. So then they go in to where they're kidnapped and Daredevil's beating up, doing what he does. Jen's just
Mhm.
kind of standing around and he's like making lawyer references to her, saying
Yeah,
maybe you
that
should do
makes no
this, maybe you
sense.
should do that while they're and then she looks at the camera and she goes, this guy's kind of doing it for me. Right in the middle of a fight.
That makes no sense why he would like be making lawyer references.
Yeah, because she's looking at her client, LeapFrog, who kidnapped a guy, who hired henchmen, who did all this stuff. And she's like, well, maybe we can do this in court. And
And
Daredevil's in the middle of a fight doing all the work. And he's telling her, well, maybe you could do this in court. Maybe you could do this. And she's like, I really like this guy. And you're just like, what are you
why
doing?
would Daredevil be giving? Because people are like, is that guy a lawyer?
Yeah, exactly. And he's like, I just watch
I just
lawyers on
watch
TV.
lawyers on TV. That makes no sense why he would like say that, you know, and kind of like reveal that he could in fact be a lawyer when he just gave a speech in
Yeah.
court about people's secret identities
Yep.
and their loved ones,
Exactly. I was about to say that.
possibly, and their loved ones possibly be, because you have enemies, they could be, found out by your enemies because they found out who you are. But yet he's like talking lawyer speak. And they're together, right? Like, I don't know. I get that LeapFrog is kind of an idiot in this episode, but
Well,
he
all the
just saw,
superheroes they show are pretty dumb. Like
but
last week.
he just saw like his lawyer, right? And then if I were him, I would be thinking like, why is my lawyer teamed up with this guy that just tried to take me out, and now they're both speaking in lawyer speak? Like,
Yeah.
put a few things together in this conversation and what just happened.
It's very easy.
It makes no sense to me why he would be saying those things out loud.
Exactly. I totally agree.
But then he's also,
but
at the same time, but at the same time, he's also kind of schooling her in how to lawyer.
So the only fight She-Hulk actually gets into is some guy tries to hit her with a bat. She turns around. She's like, "Did you actually think that's going to work?" And they defeat the bad guys. Jen frees Luke. That is his name. And he's like, "It's all forgiven. I'll work on your dress." And then when the fight is over, she goes back to Jen for some reason on the roof. And she's like, "So, Daredevil, when do you leave Los Angeles?" He like,
because she's all hot right now.
"I
She's
leave
like,
tomorrow."
"Whew."
And she goes, "Oh, it's too bad." He goes, "Well, next time I'm in town, I'll take you out to dinner." And she just says, "You know what? Maybe we could just skip all that." And they go into the sex scene. So they have sex.
Whatever. We've already established that Jen has a casual sex life. She doesn't really care about love because she's, is disgusted by it. She even says ew.
I don't understand. So they gave Daredevil, they call it the walk of shame. But I don't see how that's a walk of shame, because she's like, "I'm giving myself to you. You're the best. You're this." Daredevil shows up in LA, wins the case, beats up the bad guys, gets to make out with whoever, and leaves. I don't know if that's a walk of shame. I don't think they understand the definition of walk of shame.
It's a it's like a one night stand, and usually walk of shames are referenced to like women, right?
Yeah.
They're wearing last night's outfit, and in this case it's his superhero outfit. So he's doing he didn't even put his shoes on.
No,
and usually like the walk of shame, a girl's like holding her heels and walking barefoot because she has her heels. So he didn't even put his boots on. But doesn't he have like a flight this morning? Why wouldn't he call someone to pick him up? Doesn't he have like a driver? I don't understand.
They just had to put him in the walk of shame.
They had to put him in the walk of shame. Like, okay, Jen's a slut. Yeah, she like sleeps around. We had a whole episode of her doing that, actually.
And she gets called out a little bit later in the episode. So
whatever. Of course, she's gonna try and hit on Daredevil, and she succeeds. But like the walk of shame, seriously.
I thought that was dumb.
It makes no sense to put.
It makes no sense.
It makes no sense. Like, he's an intelligent person. You've shown us that he's an intelligent person. It's not like he lives close by to do the walk of shame. Why on earth would you have him do the walk of shame? Especially though you could just like fucking call someone to come and get him, or call an Uber. He has to take a flight home today.
Pretty cringe.
It's so stupid.
So then Jen starts talking to the camera. She's just like, "Well, the episode could have ended well for me there, but I guess this is the big twist, so there's something else that's going to happen in the show," which I thought was really weird. And then she gets all dolled up and she goes to the female lawyer of the year. They call She-Hulk up and all the other female lawyers to all receive the same episode. And I noticed that I think that's the showrunner has put herself back into the show as one of the lawyers on the stand.
But she was also there as one of Abomination's wives. So maybe she's also a lawyer and Abomination's wife. I don't know. But I thought it was interesting that Jen thought it was just going to be her, because she stood up and then they started calling all of these other people, and she looked confused, like, what? It's not just me? It's not just me? And even her colleague. How could she not know that her colleague was there? And also getting female lawyer of the year award. And everybody, they ask a question or whatever, and then she takes the opportunity to be a little bit narcissistic and like thank her family because like she thought it was going to be all about her, so she made it all about her when she got the mic.
And then it happened. Josh, the guy that slept with her, stole her phone information, decided they right on the screen behind her, they hacked into that and they were like, we want to reveal who the real She-Hulk is, exposed her phone records. And then she realized they keep calling her a slut. They're like, we know She-Hulk is a slut, and here's proof because Josh recorded them having sex, making out, and it's all on the big screen for her to see. And this is the first time where She-Hulk turns into, I guess, the Hulk because she's
like a rage monster,
growling and snarling and making like she's lost it. She's had enough. This is her. Remember, everybody hates Jen. That's her big fight. You know, that's her big struggle. And she punches the TV. Okay, so once she hits the screen comes down. But seriously, I have a lot to say about this in a second. But she punches the screen. She sees the people that did it, chases them down, grabs one of them. But while she's outside, because she punched the TV screen like the anti-mutant police or whatever it is out there, they have their guns and everyone's like, Jen, don't do it. Just surrender. Even though she's got one of the perpetrators in her hand, she lets him go. He runs away. And she puts her hands up and she looks into the camera. And that's the end of the episode. Now, all I'm saying is this. If I'm going up there and I'm receiving an award and someone is putting detailed private information and the only way I could stop it is to knock the TV out, I would. I don't know why she would be arrested for that. I don't understand. Like, to me, I just don't get why, like, the police showed up and everybody freaked out. This was like private information they couldn't get turned off. But she punches the screen and they turned it into a big drama scene. She also had one of the perpetrators in her hands and she just let him go free. Like nothing. She could at least held him and say, this is the person that is putting all my stuff on the screen that I had to take down. Don't put your guns at me. Like, what? You're a lawyer. Like, what is that?
Right. It's interesting that like in the courtroom scene, Daredevil mentions that like we're superheroes. These are superheroes. They're not celebrities, because she makes a comment referencing superheroes as if they're celebrities, and he has to correct her. Like, superheroes aren't celebrities, you know, but she has kind of like conducted herself in a way where she has not become like a superhero. She's just sort of there because she is a Hulk. So she's put herself out there kind of as a quote unquote celebrity because she's not doing any She-Hulk work, but people still like She-Hulk superheroing, but people still know her as She-Hulk. So she has that sort of like celebrity notoriety, and a sex tape gets leaked just like a celebrity would, you know. And I understand that like she's really angry, and yeah, like if the only way to take it out would be to smash the screen, what I don't understand is why people started screaming.
Yeah, that's what, exactly.
And running away. That's what I don't understand.
Like,
why did they have that reaction to her just smashing the television or the whatever it is?
I would think everyone would applaud, like not applaud, but be like,
I would have been like,
we understand.
It would be more realistic if she turned around and there was like humiliation over her and people kind of like looking at her, you know, but instead they ran away, and then out of nowhere these people were like already there. The police, like, or whatever they were with their guns, they were already there. How did they get there so quick is my question, because that all happened within a matter of minutes, but they were already there waiting. So that
it's very
by
bizarre.
itself was very, very quick. It didn't really make any sense to me. It would have been more realistic if she like smashed it and then turned around and like her boss was there, her friends were there, she lost control, you know, when she's all about, you know, especially like in the first and second episode, like I can control my anger, I can control it, and she lost control because this sex tape came out, and people are looking at her like, ooh, and there's like that sort of humiliation, not only because she's conducted herself private, I guess, like her private information or whatever, her privacy was leaked out there. You know, she has a sex tape, which is humiliating for any person, but also she lost control because she's so proud of herself for, you know, maintaining this composure that she lost control, and she's like, she could be like really angry still like that, and sort of like calming down like just a little bit, and sort of realizing like, oh my god, everybody just saw this, my boss saw this, everybody, but instead people didn't have that reaction. They like ran away.
It is
I
weird
just don't
because
understand.
like when Hulk loses control, he smashes like everything, and people are in harm's way. This was not that. It was boom, scream, and yeah, and everyone's like, "Oh my god, it's a monster!"
Yeah, and
And
this
these
is
are
this
her
is
peers.
right. This is in the same universe that the Hulk exists. So I don't understand why people would be so upset or so scared.
Exactly.
Yeah, she yelled and hit the screen, but it's because of what was on the screen. Even her colleague was even like, Jen, don't do it. Don't do it. Like kind of warning her, like, try not to lose control, try not to lose control. But she did. And even her friend like ran away. So it was kind of
But they didn't even
odd to
you're
me.
right, because they didn't even show her really losing control. Losing control would mean like, just throwing things and putting people in some serious harm's way where people could get hurt because of her anger.
Exactly.
But it just was like, let me punch the
Let me
TV.
punch the TV. It would be one thing if like she did do that and then started picking stuff up and just
Yeah,
kind of throwing
because
it
she's
because she's
angry,
so
right?
angry, and so that would endanger people so they would run away. But she didn't do any of that. She just sort of yelled, banged the screen, and turned around, and people were like, "Oh my god,
Monster. So
monster, monster!" Exactly, like monster. That didn't happen. Like she's just angry, and she's strong, so she put a stop to it.
right. And
And then she
again,
sees
yeah.
like the other guy. She sees the guys in the back. So again, another thing. They're already running, right? The people are already frightened. If it would make even more sense if she did that, turned around, and then started throwing stuff, and then
Yeah.
saw the guys and started going towards the crowd. Then the crowd disperses
Yeah, yeah.
in because she's going after them, because she's going after the guys in the back of the room. But the crowd
Yeah.
doesn't know that. They think that maybe she's coming after them. So then they leave,
Right.
but they're
I
already
agree.
like making a run for it. It just doesn't make sense in a world where superheroes already exist, especially where a Hulk already exists. But I don't know.
It's very because you're right, because we had um Titania bust through a courthouse and throw benches at people, so it's
Mhm.
like, and these are the same people that saw. I mean, it's just, this is the only part of the episode that moved the entire story. Everything that happened before, these little court case stuff, they don't really mean anything. They're just little fillers that, okay, this happened and now it's over. It does nothing. It just introduces Marvel characters and laughs at them, like LeapFrog, like the ones that we had last week, like Porcupine and Manbull. And so now we only have one episode left after all this. And how is she gonna, and it's a 25-minute episode. How is she gonna like put all this behind her
Yeah.
and move forward in 25 minutes?
It's a
That's
lot
gonna
to
be
resolve in 25
a
minutes.
lot. It's a lot, unless it's just so, but we'll
It's a
see.
lot to resolve in 25 minutes. But she can do, I guess she can do anything. So
She can
anything's
do
possible.
anything. Next
But
week,
it's
everyone.
interesting that
Oh no,
like
go ahead.
uh again, like her main villain is toxic masculinity.
Yeah,
I it's ridiculous. It's kind of dumb. But
that's the main villain. That's what she's gonna
not only
defeat
that, but
next week.
I understand that they're trying to make the men stupid in this episode, but they made them say, when they were leaking all that information on the screen, she stole her powers from Hulk.
Yeah,
Um, I don't know. Like I think like her creation, didn't she like go on a show and say like, yeah, I'm a Hulk, we were in an accident? Like,
yeah.
isn't this common knowledge how she got her powers? Like it was an accident. Like she didn't steal anything. Um, so not only is the villain ridiculous, but they're also stupid.
Well, just remember,
I
this
don't
is
know.
episode 8,
It makes no sense.
and the entire. So if we want to put together the pieces of what is supposed to be happening in the show, it's she becomes a Hulk because she got in a car accident. A couple episodes later, 4 guys try to jump her to get her blood.
Mm-hmm.
A couple episodes later, a guy befriends her because they found out her weakness. and then steals her stuff on her phone. And then now she's being exposed, and we don't know what's going to happen. After 8 episodes, I just gave you the entire story of what's happening.
I think you could probably watch like 3 or 4 episodes of She-Hulk and get the entire plot of what's going on in the show.
What's happening.
Yeah, because there's like 4 episodes that you don't really need to watch because nothing happens.
My gosh, 40 minutes we talked about this show. It's just what a breakdown, Steph. Thank you. Next week we're going live. We're going to finish the series on a live stream right here. And then it will be over.
Yes.
It'll be over and done with, and we can sit back one day and cry about it.
I don't like it.
Then we'll be ready for season 2, maybe. Who knows?
I don't know.
Anyway, this is Jay. This is My Nerdy Home. Subscribe to her channel. The link is in the top of the description. Also, these Welcome to Rebellion shirts will be available Friday, October 7th. If you like that, there's also a link in the description. Just go to 9line, use code DRUNK3PO to get a percentage off. Thank you guys for checking out. One more to go, and we're it. We'll catch you next time. Bye, everybody.